Money, Nick. What's the role of money? We don't deal with we don't understand and comprehend the role of money. And I don't mean the way the MITers do it, central bank research papers. I mean the role of money in society and social economy and political economy that everybody needs to have a handle on. We don't understand that, Nick. We can't fix the problem. Okay? Now, first of all, I congratulate you for jumping in to the Denninger thing, where, he's taking a certain aspect of the role of money in hand and attempting to translate that into an overall improvement for the people. Okay? Like we do at Kettle Pond. But I want to tell you this, Nick. Has not jumped into Kettle Pond. Okay? He has maybe stepped his toe into Kettle Pond, and that's what I'm titling my video reply. Because the Kettle Pond Institute for Debt-Free Money believes in debt-free money creation. Period. Period. Carl Denninger has invited one aspect of debt money creation, that related to the Treasury, the government's borrowings, and financing its deficits, that problem as portending financial chaos. But you and I have known financial chaos is coming, Nick. That's part of your shtick. Financial chaos is coming. Financial chaos is coming. Get gold. Or whatever. Okay. I'm like, get a new money system. Kill the debt money system before it kills you. That's my chat. Okay, Nick. So again, he's stepped his toe into Kettle Pond. At the edge of Kettle Pond, he's at the edge of Kettle Pond. He stuck his toe in the water. He says, "Oh my God, the government's over here borrowing money, and it doesn't need to. It has the power to create money debt-free." Okay. And if it did that, it will save those 100 million people that are right now dependent on the government for any form of its benefits, including myself as a Social Security recipient. So he's on to that, and that's all. Okay? So he's neither as guilty as you say, because you think the Kettle Ponders are nuts, okay? Nor has he, has absolved himself of some of his other stuff that I've read on his site by going here. But he's gone here. And by going here, he goes into a place that very, very few people fear to tread. He's like the Chartists. Because the Chartists have gone here. The neo-Chartists. The neo-Chartists say there's no problem with the deficits because the government has the sovereign monetary power. It can create the money that it needs to pay the interest on the debts that it issues. And it's okay to issue those debts to cover the deficits. Now, some Chartists say we shouldn't do that. Some of the neo-Chartists, it's a neo part of the science, as part of the economic monetary science, okay? And so there's going to be disagreements among those guys. There should be disagreements among those guys, shouldn't there? I mean, isn't that how science works? You kick the ball back and forth and you figure out where the sugar's out. Now, Nick, you took issue, I'm sorry to jump like this, but you took issue with Denninger's finding that if the government would have created something like, I forget, $400 or $500 billion, excuse me, I'm pretty sure that was the amount. I should check that. Subject to check. Whatever the amount was. Or was it 4 trillion? That could only be inflationary by, 0.2 or 0.1%. And he took the gross domestic product over a 20-year period, and it averages 10, so it was 200 and something trillion, right? And then he took out of that the amount of money that the government would have had to create had it not issued the debts. Okay. And then he took that amount over the other amount, and he said, therefore it only would have increased that amount by X. Okay. Wrong. The equation is that 200 trillion included all the money. A, that the government borrowed, and B, paid as interest. As far as I can see, it already included that money. Now, does that mean that that number comes down and therefore the difference goes up? Which I think that's what you were getting at. That's what I think you were getting at. But to me, I would say, no. The net of it would be a reduced GDP. Yes. But the inflationary impact would be, as far as I'm concerned, zero or as close to zero, which is, his thing is it's as close to zero as it gets. I say it's still as close to zero as it gets, even if you do the math right. Okay? Because why? Because it was paid into existence in something that for something that was in the budget, something that we agreed served a useful purpose in the economy, no matter what it is, Nick. Even if it's keeping people unemployed, one of the boogeymans out there. Okay? Even if it's paying unemployment insurance, it's still part of the productive economy. Okay? So, to me, the impact of the government, and that's only dealing with the government part of it, creating the money into existence so it doesn't have to borrow and then pay interest, and then, by the way, where does it get the money to pay the interest? Borrow to pay the interest. And where does it get the money to pay that interest? Borrow to pay that interest. You see, that's the insanity of the system, Nick. Okay? Now, the problem, the way I look at it with Denninger's view, is it ignores the rest of the economy. Okay? It's like as if the 100 million of us who depend on Social Security or however, disability, veterans, Department of Agriculture, rural utility services. Those of us who depend on that are one class of we the people, and the rest are another class of we the people, and it doesn't matter to Denninger that the rest of us, and I'm still a taxpayer, so, I'm one of them, that the rest of us have to rent a money system, which is our sovereign right to have, own, operate, control, create our own money system, that we have to rent that from the private bankers, Nick? You don't have anything wrong with that? Pity. Because at some point he may get it. And at some point you may get it. Okay? That if we could devise and design an honest money system where finance functioned in its proper role, and that's what I'm trying to do, by the way, in case you haven't noticed. I'm not trying to do away with private debt creation. I'm trying to do away with private money creation. Okay? I'm trying to have a system in place where the government, in developing its budget, identifies the amount of money that's needed in the economy in the following year of new money. And we got to get into that, Nick. Okay? You're having a problem with that. Of new money, whatever amount that money amount is. I put 240 billion in one of my comments to you on this blog. 2% growth, 240 billion. We reduce the amount of tax collection by the 240 billion and we pay it into existence, and it's there. And the only thing that has to do is it has to be reallocated to money center productive uses. And we carry on from there. And the private bankers get to create all the debts, and they should. And collect the interest and pay the interest on the savings, and they should. And the rest of us can have a money system that operates properly according to the role of money. Check it out, Nick. Thanks a lot.